is Raj Rawal. I graduated from Elon University in 2012 with a BA in media arts and entertainment with a focus on cinema. And I currently live in Los Angeles, California, and I'm a producer and work full-time at Tastemade.
Okay, and can you go a little bit more into detail about Tastemade and what you do there?
Yeah, of course. We're a full-fledged modern lifestyle travel home food media company with hundreds of millions of impressions and followers across the world. We basically cultivate and curate the best content out there and create to really bring inclusivity and spotlight the best of what's going on with what we all love: food, travel, home, and design and experiences, and really personalize what's going on with our content to provide an alternative a lot of people aren't getting. So we're really thinking forward in the future of people that want to see talent that represent us on screen and communities that haven't been seen, and really fine-tuning where we spotlight how to be kind of part of an experience at the same time being a professional best friend and providing any guidance, fun, shareable, savable, snackable content for the future of anyone worldwide. And we are also a linear streaming network 24 hours a day in, all the streaming apps right now.
So in the midst of social media, so we've seen it a lot with Instagram, with bullying, and now I feel that it is more spread because of TikTok, and you're seeing cancel culture and a lot of trolls come out of it. So being this huge company with a very extensive following, have you on the back end experienced bullying or negative comments on Tastemade's platform, on Instagram, on TikTok, and any other social media platforms?
Of course, this is every media platform everywhere, especially in the pandemic, because everyone worldwide got on their heads and stayed home. And, we're just posting food videos, and we're like 100% very positive and educating with what we do, and fun, and, reverse with pop culture and celebrity culture, but very like positive forward thinking, not, doing things just specifically the tier of what we're seeing with negative engagement, which is just popularizing in social media and really just turning it into something that it's not the use for. Negative comments exist everywhere. And this is the thing, there's a difference between constructive criticism. Like, yeah, if someone didn't like a movie, or someone doesn't like a band I like, or doesn't enjoy a specific actor for a specific reason, we should have that discussion and talk about it. But then unabashedly now, I think people are hiding behind their screens and just unnecessarily saying so many mean things. And the main lesson from it, especially starting within the YouTube space, is like the whole aesthetic used to be don't read the comments, but now it's like, how can you avoid the comments? And turning comments off is never a good move. But it's fascinating to see the evolution, especially in a post-pandemic world. Well, we're still kind of fizzling out of the pandemic right now. It's interesting. It's gotten better, I think, with things opening up and people getting out of the house. But those first few months where people were cooped in, I was just talking to all my friends at that manage social at studios and for creators and for YouTubers and for TV networks and things. And it was just like very like lethal. And it's one of those, if you're working in this part of the industry, you have to it's gonna hurt sometimes, but they're not talking to you. You have to truly desensitize yourself and understand community dynamics. And if anyone's being rude, you just should block them. Don't even give them the time of day, especially if they're being offensive. And I think the notion of what we've been seeing on TikTok is the uptick in xenophobic, racist, homophobic comments, especially within the past 5 years, from a national perspective with, I don't know what it, after Trump became president, sorry, I don't care, I'm 31 now. After
I don't either.
President and became a fucking asshole, and like literally white dudes at colleges were like, yeah, this is great, this is what America is. It fucked up a lot of stuff in the social media atmosphere, but especially just with the rhetoric that people think that they can hide behind walls and talk to people this way and make misogynistic and xenophobic and racist and homophobic comments and try to actually normalize it as a specific thing, all in the fate of nationalism from whatever village or environment they come from these suburban enclaves. And I think all of us kind of got fired up. It's like, why would you talk to people about that? This is a food page. This is a music page. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, yeah, argue in the comments about which album is better, or I hate this band versus that band because this is better discounted. That's fine. That's like, once again, all discussion. Even if you're being an asshole, that's discussion. When you're specifically targeting someone's character when you don't even know them, I think that is the problem. And the fact that millions are normalizing that, it's Gen Z that I think is going to save the world. But then I can't not say, and not just me, this is hundreds of people, like, just some of the stuff people write is horrifying on pages, especially post-election. When I posted a video about like post-election, how things are going to be, how I was just feeling, it was straight up, it got like 1 million views and I had to fucking delete it because it was on my personal page and it went viral. But then all these just, once again, sorry, can I be transparent?
100%, please do.
That have probably, I'm not saying they haven't had obstacles, I'm not saying they don't have mental issues, but this was the trend going on, not just with me, with other brown people, and surviving like post 9/11 of living there and being called a terrorist all the time and this stuff like that. It was so interesting because it used to be said to my face, and then I was like, oh, it just kind of stopped. It fizzled, we got so comfortable, especially in a collegiate environment. But I was like, shit, is this who these people have been my entire life? And it honestly kind of desensitized me from managing pages and stuff and working social. I was like, nah, this person's gone. They don't deserve to see our page. They can scream about it later. But it's fascinating that people know what they're saying and doing is wrong, but they're so forced in their own bubbles and beliefs, you can't infiltrate or educate them. And I've learned professionally and personally on either pages, you can't waste the energy of time, because time is the most valuable currency. And you have to focus and fine tune the positives of social.
I think these platforms, it's really beneficial. And I think the platforms who have this following, they need to say something and put out what they believe in order to make a positive change in the world and try and help. At least you may not sway people's opinions, but you're helping, putting out that information as long as it's in a positive and helpful light. TikTok has emerged recently over the pandemic, and it started with just dancing videos, and now it's become this worldwide phenomenon, I would say. And you can grow really quickly on the platform, but we've seen a lot of negative comments and videos being put out there. So do you personally think that TikTok is doing a good job with helping create that positive platform and have those anti-bullying tactics to help people get through situations where they're being trolled or bullied on these platforms?
This is the thing. There's just millions of people trying to make content going viral in their own things. This is why traditional scripted programming is really, I mean, that's what I know, that's what I love. And you might be the last generation to love traditional scripted programming, but anyone below you, it's just like, that's what we know. And with reality shows, everyone is making their own reality show in some specific way, because as humans, all we want to do is evolve and get awareness and clout. It doesn't matter for what. We want to self-serve some part of that brain that says that I'm being seen no matter what, under any circumstances. It can be through educating, it can be through creating something new, or just having a blast. But then I think it's the dangerousness of these trends, especially of like the slap a teacher, the do this, the cause mischief. We're all stupid when we're adolescent teenagers. We're supposed to be stupid when you're adolescent. You're supposed to make dumb mistakes. But us not having access to the instantaneous technology that we do now to share these things, like, why would you share yourself doing some dumb shit as a
Right.
challenge? I think it's, once again, normalizing these trends, and when you break them more, I think that's what's going to happen. I think every social media platform in the world, no matter what, trying to raise awareness. I mean, you need to hire like 10,000 more people if you want to do that, because new
Right.
accounts will pop up, new hashtags will pop up. All these kids are way more clever and smarter than us, or even like they're gonna find a way. I mean, and there's even 30-year-olds that have Finstas and fake TikToks to like cyberbully someone. I was like, how, not even just like how pathetic, like, really, you don't have anything better to do with your time? I think the yeah, I think it's a battle between two streams. There's bullying and things like that, but then obviously like they're blocking they were blocking protest like call to actions for Black communities and AAPI communities, and blocking content for sex worker awareness and things like that. And it's what goes against community guidelines versus that. And humans can't share something about awareness for the rights of people, for visibility of what they're doing, but then racist, xenophobic creators on the entitlement of free speech get to be kept on these platforms because they're not breaking rules, even though we disagree with them. And even though they're calling me all these random things and saying this about Indians, they're not getting banned. And this is, I think, the fine line between what's cancel culture versus what's wrong. Like, yeah, they're doing free speech. And this is my thing. If they're consistently doing that and that's their brand and that's how they're evolved their following, just unbiased, they're a fucking garbage person. They're a really fucking awful person. No matter how many times they get reported, you're fucking sick to do that. And you continue to push that. A lot of people are doing this right now with the anti-vax narrative. And we've seen that since fucking, there was even a vaccine of people doing that. It was anti-mask to anti-vax. And I think it is fascinating because now I think people are just playing certain characters to commit to get followings for brand deals. And it's kind of fucked when I look at it. But if what the platforms are doing, some people say policing, I don't think that. If they're getting dangerous people off platforms, like Twitter has verified neo-Nazis on the platform, but not activists who have literally saved communities and elections and fed homelessness that have press releases. And it just shows, where do these priorities lie? There's so much social responsibility with these companies. And I think the fact that it took a pandemic and all of this for people, they were always about safety and guidelines, but the fact that it took this long, it's kind of scary. So I'm happy that more precautions, there's now departments specifically for security, for anti-bullying. So change is coming, but essentially, why did it take this long? Like, you and I are both from suburbs. We're privileged for that. We're privileged for the city and what we've had access to. But tech companies need to stop thinking so suburban. Maybe they all live in the cities, but I think in the way that thinking that this is the safety net, this is how people think, and understand the evolution of how times have changed. I mean, even if you want a funny example, if you look at the Kardashians, hate them or love them and all that, they're still talked about in all pop culture, but they knew their absurdity, knew their value, because it kind of, the first 3 seasons, really 4 seasons, were just funny. We're just straight up funny. They even say we're fucking idiots, we're dumb, we know we're rich. They talk about OJ, and it's like very, very entertaining. But then when you commit to the show, they get into some really serious, deep shit that's not even like, yeah, it's for the cameras. Obviously, it's reality TV. There's producers there, but then they get into like a lot of deep shit in there, and you're like kind of committed to focus on what they're doing, even if you don't want to be. And essentially, what I saw, like, I don't agree with like some of the dieting brand stuff they do and everything like that, but bringing cameras into home, I always say they're the original social media celebrities, than Paris Hilton first, but essentially normalize that, like, they shouldn't be celebs and now they are, but that they can be people too. And they like talk about miscarriages and that and trans issues. And I know 99.9% of the LGBTQ and trans community hates Caitlyn Jenner because she's a Trump supporter and like is just fucking awful to trans people. But but that happened after, it's like, it happened after her spread and where she was awareness and stuff. And at the time it was great, but then so many people in the LGBTQ community, you listen, it's like, oh no, this is actually a really bad person. Like, I'm all about gender change. Obviously I'm trans myself. And then they're like, wait, but fuck this person. And it's, I think just Kardashians are a really good example of how to do it, but how to fine tune and not do it. By the end, they found out, because in a way, yeah, we're all human. I mean, they're the prime victims of bullying, but it's the not sympathy, empathy of people having, you're hidden behind that. But then see, the thing is, they don't like read comments because they have like 18 people running social and their filters and things like that. It's things like so many, like, Timothy Chalamet has a flip phone, and that's wild to me, and gets given a smartphone when he wants. So I think leading to that, I think it's discharging yourself and really taking a break from these platforms, that helps, because the human brain, the cerebellum, sorry for the science terms, it's not supposed
No,
to
that's good.
process this much information in this much of a changing, fastidious environment already pre-COVID. And then post-COVID, it's like I was with my mom and we ran into someone at Hindu temple, and this dude was like, "Oh yeah, I was thriving in pandemic." And my mom was like, "Oh, well, that's unfortunate." Like, the fuck says that? Like, yeah, I know. Like, shit. I was like, I get it. You live
Yeah.
in Malibu, you drive a Tesla. Good for you. It was you're still single, so that sucks. But it's one of those, like, yeah, I think when the world shut down, it's everyone was feeling like the same thing. And I still remember
Yeah.
being told, we were gonna fucking flatten the curve and all that bullshit. But I knew this was gonna go on forever. Americans, just worldwide as humans, were way too selfish and stuck in our ways to ever stop and do the greater good for people outside of us. And that brings it back to social. Would outside of you, what are people going to think when they see this? And what I just told a bunch of Elon LA students, uh,
Mhm.
if you posted it, would your mom be mad about it? It's all I
Yeah.
say. So simple. It saves me so much time from ranting. I'm so calm, but it's
Mhm.
very, get people thinking, would your mom be pissed off and go, "What the fuck? You're my son. You're my daughter. What's wrong with you?" So
Yeah. Right. Right. I agree. And I love everything you just said. And I really think it's true. And a point that you made, like even with the influencers, what bothers me is that a lot of these influencers are just taking brand deals just to get paid and get money, where they really don't even like the brand or use the brand. And that's something that if one day I have the platform, like I will make sure to stay true to myself and not just take a brand deal because of money, because that's, I just think, really inauthentic. And that's where we get into trouble with these platforms, because you don't really know who's behind the camera. So I,
yeah, and that's a really, like, I think that's another important thing, is not knowing who's behind the camera, not knowing this. There's actually this excellent movie you should watch. I think it's streaming on Amazon, called Pump Up the Volume.
okay.
With later, it's like a R-rated teen movie where he has his own like garage radio show that goes really viral, but no one
Hmm.
behind the mic. And it was an imperative movie. I think we watched it in school, like my junior year of high school, about bullying, about isolation, loneliness. And I think we
Yeah.
also need to remember that, like, I'm one of the main, it's fucked in an anomaly, but like the primary, social media has gotten people more aware of mental health and normalized talking about mental health, and
Hmm.
breaking stigma and utilizing tools to really create a community. That's the main best part about social media, is the community. They get to be part of the conversation, part of the content. But then a lot of the content causes mental health issues and things like that. Even me at 31, it's like, I don't know why I'm very confident in myself. But like, I've had a dad bod for like 2-3 years, and I still work out and I evolve and evolve. And I used to be like skinny, and then I was told I'm too skinny. Now I'm told to lose my dad bod. And by like the time the pandemic came around, I was like, anyone talking about my body or body image, I'm just like, yo, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
why do you care so much? I was like, yeah, I look hot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you should focus on you. I'm doing that. Like, my
Yeah.
fiance is a big fitness person. She works out 7 days a week, but she's always been that way. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
The pandemic. And then she pushed me because she's like, I want us to work out together. I want to go at your pace. And of course, there's a little debacle. And I was like, oh, I'll do 2 days, 3 days. I got more into it. It's not to lose weight. It's just to stay in shape. And now I feel good about doing it, and I want to do it. And it's part of my routine. And I'll skip a few days, do this, do that. But then now I go with coworkers because I can. And it's just like with social, make sure it's doing it for you. And even if you don't want to follow some of your close friends, and toxic's a bad word, but if they bring something that's not adding value to your feed, they might add value to your real life, and that's good.
Yeah.
You just mute them. The mute feature exists
Yeah.
for a great reason. I muted
Yeah.
a lot of annoying friends. Like, I just, I don't need to see this, but I hope you're well, and I have your number, and I'm texting you on a group chat. So whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great piece of advice for everyone. I've been on both sides of the social media, where I've experienced the worst of being cyberbullied, and then I also experienced the best, where I found really great people who I believe are authentic and have led me to look up to them in a sense and want my platform to be like them. But also social media, I found some of my dreams and my passions, like with an upcoming project that I'm working on. that you know Raj, but not a lot of people know. And so I think that social media can be positive, and that's what I really want to push for in my life, but I've also seen the negative side. So what is your advice for people who see social media as a negative and are getting cyberbullied and getting these hurtful comments? What's your advice for how they can deal with these comments to then ultimately create a positive feed for themselves and page that they can go to?
I always say that anyone doing that is a weaker person. I think it's taking now, just with years of wisdom, not striking back because that's what they want, to attack back and they want engagement, is really to try to have a conversation. Hey, is everything okay? What's wrong? Like, you taking the higher road by being calm, the lower they go, the higher you go. I think should be the move, especially just with reveals and stuff like that. And one of my favorite shows, the original Gossip Girl, this was already the original kind of thing of cyberbullying happening. It's been happening since the AIM days for me. I'm aging myself, that of people making fake screen names and cyberbullying that way. And as humans, we're curious to see what's going on the worst in people, and no gossip. We can't avoid it as much as we try to do, especially in a collegiate environment. It's sad. Like, we had something called Juicy Campus in college, ACB. I think now it's Yik Yak, which went away but came back.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible. What
Yeah, it's horrible.
Fucking bullshit like that. Like, it's seeing shit like that and having that, it's going to exist in the world. There's people still to talk about shit about me, personally, not professionally, but I'm like, whatever, cool. I find out I've like laughed at someone in their face and I'm like, dude, why'd you fucking just say it to my face next time? I wouldn't be offended. You don't have to do it. You could just notify me. I think having a calm demeanor, taking the higher road, and not having it get into your psyche. You can get a little angry about it, going, fuck this person, but like, don't let it take over your whole kind of thing, especially if people are going out. Like, I think it's crazy when people post like images or do a Finsta of you and shit like that. And most of the cases I've seen is just fucking anonymous bullies and shit, and just keep it away. If someone's posting like illicit photos of you that you send in confidence to someone, or things of you doing drugs or photo, that you go to the police and report that. Severity is with a case like that, that's the invasion of your privacy. That's, you go to literal police and report it and do whatever you need. And those are awful cases that I have known about too, with people. They've been mostly in the pandemic. Like, I think just people are bored at home. Just avoid it. Block it. If your friends want to go to battle to you, good. If they want to talk shit to it, good. But also tell them, no, there's no, don't give bullies the satisfaction, I think, is my primary piece of advice, because there's something underlying that in them specifically that we don't know about, that is not comprehending in their brain. And it is our responsibility to take the higher road. And if we want to engage back, talk a little positively. And if they're not budging positively, I have this happen to me on Twitter all the time. I was talking about how the Bad Boys trilogy with our Lord and Savior Will Smith is better than most of these fucking art house A24 movies. And I had all these film bros coming at me. I'm like, dude, I am a former film bro. I probably watch more shit than you. Written my thesis on like French New Wave, Italian, like all these fucking movies that I'm not saying they're bad. It's like, I'm not gonna fucking, I always have to tell my fiance, like, hey, do you want to see any of these movies? And I'll show her a list of 10 trailers. She's like, oh yeah, I'll see that one. Cool. I'm not going to be like, oh, this is art. Everyone, like maybe 14-year-olds that fucking grew up, And it's kind of a similar thing, because I get cyberbullies like, I see what you're saying, you're trolling. I was like, no, I genuinely believe the 3 Bad Boys movies are very watchable. I don't care about critics. They're a lot of fun. And the third one is very well reviewed, and people are like, oh, yeah, everyone yell at me, is like, kill yourself, blah blah blah, fucking trolling. I was like, dude, Midsommar was my number 2 best movie of the year. Am I gonna rewatch a movie about Florence Pugh's family committing suicide with carbon monoxide gas, then her going with her toxic boyfriend to a Coachella-like brightly lit festival where she joins a cult and then becomes the queen of the cult by murdering all the men? I'm not going to watch that again. Was it one of the best movies I've like ever seen? Yeah, I'm never going to forget it. It was the second best movie of 2019. And shit like that. Sorry, I had to bring my movie examples. And
I love it. I
My
love it.
bullying experiences are essentially that of Twitter and movie and music opinions, which is just like whatever, fuck you. It's my actual cyber is like was probably Trump 2016 when I got called a guest in this country, and I'm like I'm an American citizen. See, that's where I think there were people trying to
Wow.
grind my gears,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, I'm an American citizen. Also, like you were like pathetic in our pledge class and barely made it through, and I'm the one that did. Never fucking forget that. Like, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
6'5" and I'm 5'7", but like you might have a home and be a finance bro, but I'm sorry, like I hold way superior currency to you and I'm confident in myself.
Yeah.
And then I was like, also just call me to have a fucking conversation. We can talk. That's another thing. If people want to talk, we need to talk. We can stay in our lane, but we need to start having these uncomfortable discussions now.
Yeah.
Not if they're, and if their rhetoric after the uncomfortable discussion is they cannot accept things, there is no need, the fine line, for us to ever normalize. Once again, I keep saying it, xenophobia, homophobia, fucking sexism, misogyny, any of that. And if that's what their perspective is, I say if they're going to be in your life no matter what, minimize them. If they don't need to be, cut them out. That's fine. It's
Yeah.
easy. Cut them out.
Yeah.
Especially find
I
out
agree.
media bullying is. It's very easy. You evolve. I know we've personally, from a mentor-mentee perspective, talked about like, if this person's there, they can be single serving for the time, but you might see them after college and be happy, and at homecoming, it might be great at a wedding. I'm going to a wedding in 2 weeks with a lot of frat brothers. I just missed one this weekend, and I was like seeing all the photos, like, oh shit, I should have gone, but it's good. It was Brittany's birthday, so I didn't. So and people will sometimes change. We hope they do, from their negative ways. It's just assholes that restarted Yik Yak. Like I know the people that do it. It's once again, and I hate stereotyping too, because I'm stereotyped all the time. But why is it always just a rich white finance bro or something that just starts app on bullying because he knows he can get software engagement and have it go worldwide? So I think the more that we try to get rid of these things, and like don't be on Yik Yak, don't have the app on your phone. Like, and I'm not saying we should judge someone's character, but it should be a note we take about someone's character.
Right.
Why? Right. You can just ask why. Why do you should just delete it. I did it. If you should, it'll help you more. So things like that. I hope that answered.
Yes, I loved it. And I totally agree with everything you said.